Pod Candy!
A podcast about cults, crimes, and killers.
In October 2020, a Texas state trooper pulled over a woman on the highway. She said she'd just given birth on the side of the road, but nothing about her story held up.
That woman was Taylor Parker. The baby wasn't hers. She'd faked a pregnancy for nearly 10 months, and hours earlier, she'd killed 21-year-old Regan Simmons Hancock and cut the baby from her body.
Netflix released a documentary on the case this year called Maternal Instinct, directed by Jessica Demock.
Parker had actually had a hysterectomy years earlier, so there was no way she could have been pregnant. Still, she convinced her boyfriend, Wade Griffin, and most people around her for months.
Parker had met Raegan while photographing Regan's wedding. Parker was convicted of capital murder in 2022 and sentenced to death. She's still on death row today.
What ties this to our theme is the title itself. The people who doubted Parker weren't working off evidence at first, just a feeling that something was wrong.
And on the other side, Raegan trusted the wrong person completely. So today we're talking through how this unfolded, who suspected something and why, and what it cost.
Let's get into it.
Outside my window, it's only raining. When the wind blows, I feel pain. I don't need no doctor, baby, I'm not sick. My body's been locked up, heartbroken ever since.
This was, well, as Dr. Johnson he said it over and over again, this was a dooz.
This was one of the biggest doozes for me. I found it to be really psychotic and really sad and just tragic. And I just don't know what, and we'll find out from John, what was going on and how she managed to keep herself acting confident and lying and just pulling this off.
So I was very triggered by this documentary, and I actually watched it twice because I think you and I both, Stacey, watched it like a long time ago, right? And then yes. I had to rewatch because I forgot like everything.
I watched it a little bit again today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So I did rewatch it, but I have to say I was triggered because remember we all talked about last year about like things that have happened to us and how we've kind of been shysted by things. And it reminds me of my former college roommate who took me for so much of my money. Obviously, I mean, hopefully this woman is not a killer, but I've always said, if people like that, who are so intelligent, like this Taylor woman, she's a smart person who used her talents for evil instead of good. If she used those talents for good, she could make such a huge impact on this world, but she's psychotic.
Yeah. I mean, she believed herself. I mean, we're going to talk about all this, but like she told Wade, her boyfriend, whose mom had a kind of a bad vibe about him. They were like people who knew she had a hysterectomy in like her other friend group. So she kind of ditched that friend group and created this new sort of circle where she was still kind of connected with the outside, still familiar, but also people that didn't really know her past. So that's when somebody, when she was sort of stalking her other friend, I think her name was Mackenzie, who was pregnant. She was trying to like get in on the pregnancy and be too involved to the point where Mackenzie was like, I don't feel comfortable. So she dumped Taylor And then Taylor turned her sights on Reagan. Did she plan to turn them on her after she photographed her wedding? The pictures, by the way, no offense, they were not good. I mean, they were saying that she captured all this great stuff, but not so sure that her technique was good. Dori, did you have
Well,
something to add?
no, like, well, yeah, the
No offense.
photography aside, just like when you said that Taylor had to go far enough away to meet new people, that's like my former college roommate.
Yes.
She infiltrated a group of us, and then when we all were on to her, she started becoming a pool player so she can infiltrate. So it was first, like, I think, like the people in her life and like the improv community or the acting community, and then it was like, wait, I need to be shady to other people, so I'm going to join a pool league. So and again, this, I just have to bring this up because this is so her. So I see Taylor for what she is, and also too, I do think, because, and this may be offensive, and I'm trying not to be offensive to people, but these were simple people. And I think that Taylor knew that when she met that Wade at the rodeo, and by the way, the animal stuff that was going on, don't even get me started. As an animal lover, I really just, the stuff that he was doing and keeping those dogs. Anyway, but I think she sensed that he's somebody I can do
Manipulate.
because his personality is so even keeled. Like Wade doesn't seem like the biggest prize in the world, right? Just
Not really,
personality
no.
wise.
No offense. I wouldn't say he was a
no
hottie.
offense, right?
No
But
no
I don't know.
offense.
That's kind of the vibe. What were you thinking about that?
Absolutely. I mean, this goes back to, Sam Bateman or all these people who find a group of people that are vulnerable, whether it's because they're simple-minded or they're, it's uneducated or brainwashed, or they're so young that you can brainwash them. And then you are able to like infiltrate and manipulate that group of people. Now, what started happening, which was surprising, was that people were popping up and saying, wait, she doesn't look pregnant. She looks thin. She looks fat. She looks blah, blah, blah. And they were all popping up all over the place. And the hospital itself was notified because they were worried about this woman getting a baby or like kidnapping a baby. I don't think anyone thought what was going to happen happened. But that was, to me, all those red flags, but they all just kind of watched the flags.
You know why? Money.
The money.
Taylor said she had a whole bunch of money.
She said she had about $8 million.
Yeah, like $8 million that she was going to
inherit, but without her mom, because she and her mom didn't get along. Meanwhile, her mom's over there going, I was waiting for your call.
Right. It was all this master manipulation. But I do have to say, it really is true for this Wade, who was the boyfriend, who wasn't really into it. It sounded like from the very beginning, to the mother of Wade. I think there was and then the friends of Wade. I think there was always this hope that we're going to get some money and we're going to benefit off of this. And I believe that's why they turned a blind eye. Are they complicit? No, because Taylor was crazy and killed a woman and took her baby out of her uterus and claimed it as her own. So she was psychotic. However, could it have been maybe stopped? I do think so. I think Wade, the friend certainly was on the case, that the one of the friends, the blonde woman who was the friend of theirs who started doing all this investigation, she knew that this woman is not pregnant. But Wade the mother kept saying, I don't think she's pregnant, but Wade just kept going,
she don't look pregnant, and we don't think she's pregnant. We're going to sell these hogs. And I called the guy, and he said, I never called you. I don't know which number you're talking about. We do not want hogs. So she sent Wade on the day she was going to give birth, she sent Wade 4.5 hours away to sell some hogs to people that never knew they were buying them because she called. So she set a fake thing up, or she might not have even called, but she set something up that didn't actually come to fruition. And Wade was stuck 4.5 hours away, could never get back to go to the hospital in time.
She was
You know
over
what
10 months pregnant.
That was like a joke people said to me because I was so huge. Are you 10 months pregnant? You know, first of all, if you're 10 months pregnant, you're not walking around like in a normal condition. I can tell you this firsthand because I've been pregnant. And when I was pregnant, I'm just going to give you a short thing. I was about 8 months pregnant. I was going to Carter's to pick some stuff out for the baby. And this is when I was pregnant with my son. And I was walking across the street and I was huge and I was sweating and I could barely walk. And a man opened his window and screamed, "Get out of the way. It's not my fault. You got knocked up."
Ugh.
And I was
hope
like,
that
I
guy
can't walk faster. But the point is that at that stage in pregnancy, you cannot, you think, oh, when I'm later in pregnancy, I'll do some nesting and I'll go shopping. You can't do anything. Or maybe it was just me. So she did not seem pregnant. And, listen, think about it. That day they took her to the hospital, the people were already slightly suspicious. And I feel like I'm getting really good at, and I'm really proud of this, recognizing when I can tell somebody's lying. Yes, I had this baby. It's like not connected. It's like this sort of like superficial, like, of course this is my baby. Look, who has a baby in their seat with an umbilical cord that's dead in a car? You know what I mean? It's like,
I mean, there were so many red flags. Doesn't it remind you though, again, like when you said about like, and I think she had texted that guy about the hogs to send Wade, the boyfriend, away while she decided after 10 months, that's the day I'm going to give birth. That's the day we're going to go. Didn't it though give you, remember the Hollywood Hustler? We did the documentary on the guy,
yes.
The Hollywood Hustler, and he had a million
Yes.
text strings going, and they thought that the head of HBO and Starbucks was communicating with them. It's
the same thing.
Shit, different story.
Catfishing.
Exactly, catfishing and all of it. It really is, to me, remarkable about how talented these people are.
They're so talented. They have no...
I wish I had the ability to be that organized, that, I don't want to say conniving, but that witty to be like, okay, I'm going to send this to this person at this time. I've got this going on with it. I mean, as a friend said, she had like 20 different things going on with 20 different people. How do you keep track of all that? Just like the Hollywood Hustler, I got to give credit where credit is due. As crazy and terrible as these people are, major ups on your conniving game. You're good at it. I wish you could do it more for good.
It's like, what's his name in Catch Me If You Can, like the Leonardo DiCaprio part of what's his name, where he, is forging checks, but then he uses that for good because he uses it to help the CIA and the FBI or whatever. That, like, how do we transfer that? But she, to me, seemed so gone, like really, really, like, disconnected. And
you know what's sad too is that, well, one, she had kids, or she has kids. She's like, she was like 27.
Kids.
Yeah, 2 kids, 3 kids, 2 kids.
2 kids.
2 kids.
And one fake kid.
Right, and one fake kid, 27 years old. And the woman that she killed to cut that baby out, who died, the baby died and the woman died. That woman was 21 and had a daughter already, and another, like,
at 17.
It's sad, but it's also kind of amazing that this 26, 27-year-old did this while also, I guess, kind of being a mom to the other kids.
Yeah, I don't know what her mom, like, her parenting was on a regular basis. It sounded like they were with she and Wade when she moved in. Like, even when she moved in, by the way, the mom was like, it seemed a little too soon for them to be cohabitating.
But that's on Wade.
That's on Wade. See, Wade just let it happen, and he never said he was in love with her. He said he cared about her.
Right. But I think that those types of guys, she knew this is the stuff that I think it is a good time maybe to bring in
the doctor,
because I think he can give us some idea about like Wade's perspective versus Taylor. And again, it is the manipulation and how somebody sees all the red flags, but is like, no, even though she never allowed him to ever see her naked, they never had sex during
for
that
4
time.
months.
Right. During the time she was supposedly pregnant, never saw her. He couldn't go to any of the doctor's appointments.
No.
I'm very curious if the green room is going to open and Dr. John is going to come out with a lot of
before he comes out, the other thing I want him to comment on, which is piggybacking on what you're saying, is this thing about this fake bomb threat that she called in to the hospital and then told Wade about. You know what I mean? Which also contributed to like slowing it down and throwing people off, right? John? Yep. John?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready. But okay.
Oh, okay.
I have to prepare for these things. So, wow, as usual, team, you so many good things you brought up in your discussion. If you want me to start with Wade and Wade's perspective, on the whole thing, I think what you were both getting at, and I absolutely agree on, was Wade was a pretty simple guy, right? I mean, and if you look at Wade in comparison to Taylor, he's sitting there going, well, this is about the best I can do. And she's lively, and the documentarians made a great point of saying with her friends and everything before any of this happened, how she was the light of the room and she was a party girl and made everybody feel happy, etc. So on Wade's perspective, he's got a catch in here. He's a pretty simple guy, and it almost seemed like he didn't have that much of a libido in the first place. It's like it's like, okay, she's here. Okay, it seems okay. If we have sex, we have sex. He just seemed like a guy that really didn't have a lot of energy or motivation. A little
because he was up so early in the morning taking care of all those hogs,
all the animals. Yeah, exactly. A really sad figure. Wade to me is a really sad figure in this whole saga. That's my comments on the whole thing. I always like to comment on the documentary, and here again, we have a very good. You both picked such great material. It's a good documentary, but again, it leaves room for our analysis on Pod Candy here. I wanted more. We never heard from Taylor's parents. They weren't even. They were mentioned in the documentary, but I would love to have seen what these people were like and what created this evil, psychotic monster that Taylor Parker is. And I agree with both of you. This was hard. This was a hard documentary to watch. It was just so sick and so evil. And I deal with this stuff all the time. And by the way, there was a case like this in Chicago that I was called on, where a woman cut the baby out of another woman's, pregnant woman. Thank God that baby survived. I believe the victim survived as well. As I recall, this was some years ago, but I was called on that case. So this is not, a one-off that this hasn't happened in our world. So which is very sad.
Where does your brain go when you get to the point where you can actually cut somebody's skin open like that while they're talking to you?
If you recall in the documentary, the key to the answer to that question, Stacey, in the documentary, when the police were interrogating her, in her psychotic, delusional state, here's what she thought. and I want to really bring this out because it wasn't brought out in the documentary. If you recall, she said, well, she kept screaming, take this baby now. So Taylor Parker got in her mind that I was actually doing something that Reagan requested to take this baby. She convinced herself, and it's both of you, it's psychotic. It's crazy.
Well,
But
it's also what Taylor is saying, that she said that Reagan said, take the baby, take the baby.
right.
For all we know, Taylor is even making that part up.
Yeah, that's
Somebody
a
is saying,
delusion.
take the baby. Yeah.
That's a delusion, and but what I'm saying is that's what was going through her mind as she was doing it. Absolutely delusional, psychotic, but that gave her almost permission to do what she was doing. And then the whole ownership of the baby and that whole thing was just also part of that delusion. But Taylor had a long history of, and drum roll, this is going to be one of the big reveals of our podcast. There's a condition called the factitious disorder imposed upon the self, or what we in the medical field have now called Munchausen syndrome. We've all heard that term, Munchausen syndrome. A lot of times we've talked about another of our episodes, we talked about Munchausen by proxy, where that mom was taking the child always in for medical treatments. But that's different from Munchausen syndrome on the self. And Taylor had a long history, as you recall, her friends and everyone saying, she was always going in for these things and then posting it on TikTok or wherever the hell it was,
A lot of Facebook. This was in 2020.
Okay, Facebook.
Before, yeah, a lot of Facebook they talked.
Whatever it is. Audience, know that I'm not on any social media for a very specific purpose.
Whatever the kids call Facebook.
Yeah, right. Whatever.
The kids, by the way, don't do Facebook.
No, they don't. They laugh at Facebook.
They did, but then this generation of kids, Gen Z, and then beyond Alpha, they're just Instagram. Yeah. They're the gram and they're the TikTok.
So what is Munchausen syndrome about? It's about creating fake illnesses and getting attention for it, and it's part of the psychosis that Taylor Parker and other people who do this express. The interesting, the term was coined in the early 50s by a physician who was seeing patients who would come in, and he would say that there's nothing wrong with you, go home. That doesn't happen in modern medical care because, anybody who comes in, we just give them a pill and go away. We don't get behind, if it's really something that's serious or not. A little editorial there. But
is Baron Munchausen remember Baron Munchausen?
That's how they coined the term, Baron Munchausen.
Yeah, well, who is Baron Munchausen again? Is that a book?
Well, yes. And I think it was also a play, both of you. It's a 18th century German baron that would have these incredible feasts and big parties and brag about his accomplishments and his victories in war and battle, and most of it was made up. So that's why this physician in the 50s named the syndrome after Baron von Munchausen.
Goldman has a question.
Yes.
Yes, Von Goldman. You're supposed to say yes, Von Goldman.
Yes, Von Goldman.
Okay. So I did like the fact that they had the footage of Taylor in the hospital room. So that was good footage of seeing her. So my question is, she was so defiant and obviously maybe this is the question, was she in a delusion? Like, she was so defiant about, what's the big deal? What did I do? This is my baby. Do you feel, as a doctor, do you feel that she was putting that on for them, or that she really, truly, truly believed that was her baby?
I think Great question, because I studied that while I was watching the documentary. It was one of the key elements I was studying. I believe she was faking that. She's caught, and like we see in a lot of criminals, they just spontaneously in their mind will create, this rationalization or this diversion to the police, like, no, I couldn't do it, or et cetera. Just like when she was in the car, when the cop stopped her in the car, how vigorously she was, my baby, I just had a baby, I got to get to the hospital. I really felt that was just totally fake. She was just acting through all of that. It wasn't part of her psychosis. It was just, she's caught. I think she thought the cop who was following her, and I think the audience needs to know, this sheriff's police was following her because she was driving erratically. The sheriff didn't have any idea that she, was this crazy baby thing, and was stopping her for that. And here's where, and Dori has said this a couple times, so kind of a smart individual she was. She saw the sheriff's car behind her, and then she called it in because she thought she was being stopped because of what she did. But I do want to, and Dori, that leads me to something you said where you were going on and on about giving her credit. And a lot of people like this that we talk about in the podcast, for being clever at figuring out this technology and all that kind of stuff, and how they can do this, like in our catfish episodes, etc. But I want to point out one thing for all of us, and probably a lot of people in the audience. We're all too damn busy to be figuring out how to do fake phone calls and have 2 or 3 different phones that we're texting from. I mean, is it really intelligence, or is it just that, look at a person like Taylor Parker. She doesn't work. There's nothing to do. So people can investigate this stuff and figure out these elaborate plans because they have nothing else going on in their life. So Dori, I respect what you're saying, but I'm going, is it really that, or you just got a lot of time on your hands?
Well, but I think because I brought that up, because also too, she was like a recruiter like me. I mean, let's just draw parallels, but
at one time in her life.
One time in her life, and
I thought to myself, she reminds me exactly of Dori.
Exactly of me. Although I'm old and have never had any children. But the coworker who mentioned that essentially they found out Taylor wasn't doing anything at her job. So, but for however long she was employed, like over a year or whatever that she was there, she made people think she was. So that's why I think of like intelligence. I do. I think that there is, just like my former college roommate, there's an endearing quality about these people where they make you think, many times in the documentary, they said Taylor, like, she was so nice, so interested in me. We talked, like, oh my God, I couldn't believe when they said Taylor had murdered my daughter, that it was that Taylor. Like, how could that be? I'm just saying there are people like that do this professionally and get away with it until they're caught. But for years, they can get away with it. To me, that is a talent.
I agree. And both of you who are entertainers can respect the fact that it takes really good acting. And I want to go back to the Munchausen syndrome. Think about it. For a person to fake illnesses and be taken seriously by the medical profession, that always happens in Munchausen syndrome. You're taken seriously until tests are run and an analysis is performed. That's a skill. She fools people, and Taylor Parker has fooled people all her life because she's so empty inside. She has nothing. No, is she totally psychotic? Is she borderline personality disorder? Both of them are very empty people. They don't have their own sense of self and accomplishments, etc. So her whole life is an act. That's why I'm so curious about her upbringing and her parenthood. And who does she pick? She picks Wade. I want to get back to because this is one of my favorite quotes in the whole documentary. I want to get to that really tells what kind of personality Wade had. And she picks a pretty simple person that she can, fool, and she probably did that all her life. As you both were talking about in before I entered the picture here today, these are pretty simple people that she did this all on. And I love this quote from Wade talking about letting the background was, well, the documentary goes, well, why did you kind of were interested in Taylor Parker? Why'd you let her into your life? And he goes, well, I just thought it wouldn't hurt to go out to eat or something with her. It's like, is that
Yeah.
is that a boyfriend girlfriend setup? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just feel like going out and eating something.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he just was really, what the thing that affected me a lot was the woman who she worked with at the recruiting place, who then realized she wasn't working, who had lost her daughter, and her daughter died in her arms, and she was talking about the feeling of that, and she said that Taylor, agreed with her because she had been through the same thing and she'd felt the same way. And then to have heard this woman feel this betrayal, that this woman claimed to know what it was like to lose a child like that and to be completely lying. This woman just, I felt bad. And what she said
Yeah.
that really affected me, and this is not a direct quote. It was, it was like she was trying to piece together a life from all these different things to make herself feel like she was alive or believable. I don't know. That was just somebody's opinion, but I thought that was a really interesting way to look at it. She just didn't know who she was. So she was like, oh, maybe if I can pretend I was this and then pretend I was this, and then people will like me or I'll be accepted, or I don't know, but that part of it really got to me.
And that brings us to another instructive point for our audience, because in our whole podcast series or show, I throw out some of these psychiatric terms and diagnoses. And today I threw out borderline personality disorder versus psychotic. And here's what you just said, Stacey. A borderline personality disorder will absorb and copy personality, habits, behaviors from other people, almost like going into different settings and being a chameleon. A psychotic individual has a psychotic overlay, which was pretty linear. There's not, it doesn't fluctuate from one to another. They're psychotic all the time and they live in this delusional, crazy world. So you're giving a good case that Taylor Parker was borderline personality disorder, because she just kind of gleaned from one group of people or person to the other, and was this way and now and that way then. That's classic borderline personality disorder. Whereas again, if you just to emphasize the point, psychotic people have this one psychotic delusion. I'm a spy for the FBI, and they're always a spy for the FBI. They don't go from one to the other. Dori.
So, well, I have a question about that. So, you're right, because we didn't really hear from the mother at all, Taylor's mother at all. I really don't know this, but do you think, I guess her mother had said that she's always been a liar, but I'm wondering, because she did have kids, do you think that moves that along? Like, if there was some type of borderline disorder in her after postpartum, could that also impact her? Because she had never, as far as we know, she never murdered anybody before. She was doing more lying and saying things that were untrue, going to the doctor for herself and saying, I have this, but never doing it to somebody else. Do you think there's any postpartum side of that maybe could change her imbalance of, to move her more towards this, or does that have nothing to do with it?
I think that's an outstanding observation, but and I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this is going to be off the top of my head. Postpartum Possibly, but she had those kids many years before any of this happened. And so we usually see, and this is the limb, we usually see that postpartum can kick off things such as more serious mental illness, but it doesn't last this long. You know, you're postpartum for uh, delimited time in your life, and but it can kick off a more serious mental illness. One of the things I want to point out is that they made a big case, which is another sad aspect of this whole thing, is that she really didn't have anything to do with their kids. Um, you know, actual children she had, which was like, come on, people, that was a warning sign right off the bat. You know, what mother has nothing to do with her biological children? It's like,
Why would she have a hysterectomy at like such a young age? Why would she assume she wasn't gonna have another baby? And she was so adamant, whoever said it about her, about having a hysterectomy.
yeah,
And then the one thing she wants, or the one thing she's trying to emulate, is having a baby. So it just doesn't really, I mean, it was her choice to have a hysterectomy. I don't think it was based on any issues. I think it
no,
was a
she insisted upon it. You know,
right. And so
and
like I had my tubes tied after my daughter was born. And I asked for that because I was at an age where I didn't want to have another baby. Now it turns out I ended up,
Stacey was a bit of a whore back in the day.
I
She
was a bit of a whore.
Bounce around and
Yeah, no, you know
good
what?
for you.
And
Free sex
just-
for everybody.
yeah,
just
free
don't
sex.
have sex, Stacy. Just don't have
Yeah.
sex.
Oh, right. Well, I tried that for a while. It just didn't work. Now, but ironically, I ended up having, I've told you guys this before. I have the BRCA gene, and which
Yeah.
is the breast cancer gene, and I ended up removing my ovaries anyway and my fallopian tube, so it was kind of a moot point. But I do have a uterus, so if anybody is interested out there in implanting my uterus with a sperm and egg, it's here. I am charging $250,000 for kids.
That was my question.
Dr. John and I, we were talking about maybe having a child together.
Yes.
So are you saying that
What?
you're offering up your uterus to us?
I'm offering my uterus.
This is breaking news, everybody.
Sorry. But truly, like, when you make that choice, first of all, and also her having a full hysterectomy. Oh, you're gonna cut me open?
I have an X-Acto knife ready to go.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just do it.
But you're right, Stacey. At 20, when she did that, she was in her 20s.
Like 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why would you want to have
May I comment on that? You brought it
in
up.
menopause,
You both brought that up when I was in the green room about these people having children so young. And I don't think either one of you can appreciate this because, you were born with silver spoons in your mouths and you're of a certain class of people.
Oh, yes.
I wasn't
high
privileged
class.
to be born that way. That's a joke, audience. It's a joke. But no, I want to emphasize that what you and everyone is witnessing in this documentary about these people having children so young. Where I grew up and everything, this is not uncommon, and people value being pregnant. It gives an identity and a specialness, and again goes with this Munchausen diagnosis here. People get a lot of esteem. We saw it in the Mormon episodes where all those poor girls that were in the cult going, "Oh, I can't wait to have a baby." And even Reagan's sister, who was interviewed when she was a teenager, she made a comment. She made a quote in the documentary. "Yeah, I can't wait to have a baby too." It's like this is something in this class of individuals that is rewarded and you're brainwashed with.
Well, that's where their life needs to go. I mean, they're not allowed to think about having a career or going to school. Their whole life is being a trad wife and having a baby. And, the other thing that was creepy was that photo shoot she did with that woman who does like rodeo horse, like photo shoots. And she did like a gender reveal. the woman's like, she was so nice, and they did that pink spray, and like to have a gender reveal in a photo shoot with your fake belly. It's just, it's
Well,
so
also, I mean, there's so many
wow,
things about this,
wild.
honestly, that we all think is just absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous. Again, I've never had a child, but one would think that, I mean, and Stacey, you can please let me know if you have a
Oh,
baby.
I will.
Yeah, let me know. If you have a baby, wouldn't
Yes.
you be covered in blood if you just had this baby? Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the fact that
Yes.
the doctor like checked her out and was like, nope,
He's
no
like,
baby
no.
out of this
And he's like,
snatch. No,
and he
no,
was not
no.
happy. He was not
This-
happy. There is
but
no
that's-
baby in there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
That's the room. He was
That's
pissed.
the craziness, but that's also a part of this that I get it that like, you know, the police were there and but like it did seem from the very beginning, everybody thought that she was lying. Also, too, because it was called in by her former doctor who gave her the hysterectomy, like, be on the lookout. This woman may be stealing babies.
Exactly.
Well, I want to point out something. That's an excellent comment by both of you. Excellent discussion, because at first, when the police were so almost immediately suspicious of this woman, I had an instant of going, "Oh, how did they pick it up so quick?" But you both are exactly right. Why did they pick it up so quick? She had just a smattering of blood on her blouse, and as Stacey can attest, is that when your water breaks and you're ready to deliver, there is an odor and there's stuff all over the place, fluid and blood, etc. It's like I
The
think
odor part made it really sound appealing. Wait, can I just say one? Can I interject?
Well, I had
'Cause I
my
don't want
water.
anybody to think I'm lying. What?
Yeah. I was going
I
to
did-
say
I-
I've had my water break once.
Okay, so you know what it smells like.
No, you know what
I
I'm
never-
getting at is you were like, oh, I can tell it when a certain person is lying. You didn't even call
Yeah.
me out on that
Oh
lie.
yeah, you're such a liar, John.
I knew it. I just
no,
stayed silent. I was silently judging you, John.
Yeah, she was. I saw it in her eyes. My water never broke.
What?
So no, so
You weren't pregnant. You weren't pregnant.
Whose
I can
kids are
tell
those,
you-
Stacey? Whose
I don't know
kids
where
are
those kids
popping up?
came from. I don't know where those kids came
I was
from.
in the hospital being induced because it was the week after I was due. I was due on the 10th of December, and I went in there on the 18th, and I had him on the 19th. They popped my water. They did all this stuff. Nothing was happening, so I had a C-section. So my second was a planned C-section. But I have seen births, and there's no way that there's not blood and shit and fluid and
Exactly.
All in
everything.
the car. It would be all in the
over
car.
You would look like a crime scene. I mean,
Yes.
it's not pretty. It is bloody and gory, and there's shit everywhere, and urine and crap. It's
I
not.
thought everybody doesn't shit when they.
I know.
give birth.
I actually, that was an add-on. I don't really know if that's true. Uh,
I mean, with this parasite
is-
going around right now,
you never know.
I
It
may
could
be
explosive diarrhea.
quote unquote having a baby. You never know. I'm very susceptible to food poisoning, so I could be.
Have you had
you-
explosive
Sitting
diarrhea
every-
yet?
No,
it-
but wait, let me just say this. But no, I have not. But so I went to get my lashes done yesterday. She had an explosive diarrhea right
During the
before
lesson?
she was
Kidding.
doing my lashes. She
Oh,
washed
shit.
her hands twice, but I said, just my luck. In now 9 days, I'm probably going to have explosive diarrhea as well because she.
What the fuck? Did she have does she have that thing from the cyclospora?
Nobody knows. You don't really know, but she had been diarrheaing
At Taco Bell?
three times a day for like 3 days. And then she's putting her hand on my lashes. I said, do you think you should go home? Do you want to reschedule this? And she said, oh, no. I'm good. And she did my lashes.
Yeah, I would have, Dori.
good.
I would have bolted out of that chair and got the hell out of there right away.
I
with that.
wasn't in a
disgusting.
chair. I was laying down.
Yes, you were lying
Did you
down.
inspect between her fingernails whether she had,
No, I mean, I'm
diarrhea?
sure I have shit all in my eyes, and
Ah,
I'm sure I'm
Oh,
gonna
fuck.
be. But
I'm
that's what I
sorry.
think.
That's horrible.
Dory,
No,
your
no, no.
eyes look shitty. Your eyes look
let's-
shitty.
See, now the next time we record, everybody will be able to see my
To see your
eyes.
shitty eyes.
I am
won't-
scared for you. No, but I don't think you're going to get it. But is it a 9-day incubation?
It's like
Yeah,
a
it doesn't
10-day
it doesn't
incubation.
right, it
They-
doesn't express itself
They
right
say
away.
it's a 10-day, but they also said it probably cannot go from person to person. But we
You
don't
get
know
it
that
from
much.
any
because-
salad? Because I'm eating a salad today.
Yeah, salads. You should probably not eat salads for a little while.
Where are you
True.
getting your salad? Ask them if they
Sweet green?
they probably have washed it properly.
Probably.
You know
But
what
ask,
I did?
ask.
It's already
Yeah.
been 10 days
I bought
since
I
I
bought
had.
a vegetable scrubber yesterday because
Did you?
I bought Pedialyte just in case I'm on
Oh my
the
gosh.
shitter. Just in case I'm on the shitter for
Well,
I
as a
live
do-
by myself.
Can I say as a doctor, just take a cork out of a wine bottle and just put it there. That's just as good as Pedialyte.
just up my butthole?
Oh, yeah,
Alright.
for sure. That's
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
usually do it.
It's just
He's
some of
an
my
actual doctor.
My
ladies
doctor.
and
He's an
gentlemen.
actual
some of
doctor. He's
my
an
my
MD.
primitive Northwestern medical school, education. Can we get back to Taylor Parker, please?
Oh yeah, that was my fault because I inadvertently I said that there was shit and urine all over the table and
Yeah, and you're exactly right.
Audience, I don't know if it's really shit. I had two C-sections, one planned, one quote unquote emergency, but it was kind of, and that's it. But there was a lot of blood.
Yeah, it's a mess. That's I was saying, my comment was the police were like immediately astute to go, hey, this does not look like a childbirth scene.
Officer, I gotta get to the doctor.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
just seems so like.
Yeah, and that poor baby.
I think before because I do have to go back to work. But I think
What?
before we should also
Work.
mention too, just one more thing too, that she is the youngest person in Texas youngest
Death
woman
row.
in Texas on death row in Texas.
And lost her appeals. She's losing her
Do you
appeals.
think that she's dangerous if she was set free?
I think so. I wouldn't
Okay,
want to see
I just wanna know.
I wouldn't want to see somebody like this back in society.
No,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't
it
either.
hasn't been many years, so she couldn't have had that much like psychological work and medication to just be like it's only been like a couple years since she's been convicted, right?
And one more thing to follow up with what you're saying. The mother of Reagan talking about how traumatizing, obviously there's no words for this, but to imagine your child in that much pain and fear, similar to the women, to anybody who loses a child, but we've done a lot of these, the yogurt shop. It's this idea that she couldn't help her child, or her child was alone and she wasn't there. And there's a feeling as a mother when your kid gets hurt, it's like, where was I? You know what I mean? And why wasn't I there to be there for her? And then imagining all that stuff she went through and the pain she was in. It's just, I don't know how you live after that.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know how.
Incredible.
Somebody needs to answer that because these stories are just horrible. Horrible, life-ruining, trauma forever for generations, situations, and a lot of crazy people out there.
All I can say about that, when you say somebody has to answer it, is that in spite of maybe some of the sarcasm we've had about these people, they're tough people. These are tough people.
Yeah, they're tough people because,
Yeah.
a little snowflake over here.
And we saw that in Reagan's mom, to be able to
be able to sit there and talk with
participate in this documentary,
unbelievable.
Amazingly
I give her
tough.
ton of
even Wade talking about this, he did tear up a couple of times in the
that poor
documentary,
guy.
but
sort of was led around, he's just a little simple, maybe a little dull.
Just my usual wrap up. Okay, what did we learn here? Hopefully you've learned something about Munchausen syndrome, but also let's talk about the warning signs here to the audience. There were so many warning signs to stay away from a person like this. The fact that she didn't take care of her kids. Come on, stay away from an individual. The money thing, when the whole ruse of money started to collapse, this family should have ran for the hills and said, there's something seriously wrong with this lady. So again, audience, don't hesitate when you see things like this happening with an individual that is in your life. Take action, do something, run away, etc. But listen to the warning signs.
And listen to your gut.
Starting in a few weeks, our podcast, you're all going to be able to see our faces. What we look like.
God.
Faces.
That's shocking.
We have faces, everybody.
I
And you'll
think
be able
that's
to see
shocking.
the interaction with our dogs. You can see the penis dog. You can see John in the green room.
It's what the people wanted.
Is there enough time to get plastic surgery?
As a matter of fact, I'm having a Botox treatment next week. Not sure about you guys.
Okay.
Are you ready for us? Stay tuned for our next episode, Devotion, Obedience or Betrayal. Everything you need to know on Paramount Plus.
Thanks so much for listening. Our theme music is written and performed by Midnight Current. Check out more of their work on SoundCloud. For more about us and to catch up on every episode of Pod Candy, head over to podcandypodcast.com. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time.
Pod Candy!